Good day, Chris. This is Jeremy Ley here. I'll be pitching my Dead Duck storyboard, and helping me laugh in the room is my second cousin, Sarah Little.
Hello.
She won't be talking, but she'll be here giving me encouragement, silent encouragement. Okay, so here's a picture of me getting revved up with King Kong about this pitch, and I'm getting in the mood, and so here we go. So we start on a leg of cooked duck, and then hard cuts the title sequence, Dead Duck, Part 1. And it cuts back to the duck now in noodle soup. And then we cut somewhere else to a stick on the ground, tapping. It cuts back to the soup where there's these two chopsticks fishing for some noodles. And they cut back to the stick, and it's been held by a man. And he's tapping like he's a blind man, and he comes towards camera. And we go back to the noodles, which is now heading towards this massive mouth, and it goes, and we see this fat man slurp up the noodles as he goes back. Cut to a wide shot of the man slurping up the noodles, and we're shooting through some ducks, and pans off to the right, and the woman's kind of not really happy. And we see the blind man walking towards them through the crowd, not really knowing where he's going. And we see the man slurping up the noodles, really enjoying his meal. And the blind man's about to smack into him, and he smacks into him, hitting the fat man into his soup. And the fat man gets up and goes, "What the? That was my lunch!" And the blind man goes, please sir, I'm blind," as he steps back and he whacks into someone. Someone goes, "Oof." He's like, "Oh, I'm so sorry. Look, please forgive me. I'm so sorry." And the woman next to the fat man goes, "Oh, come on, Addy. It was a mistake. We'll order another one." And Addy looks down and sees a blind man searching for the stick, and he's like, "Look, listen, don't worry about it. Just watch where you're going next time, okay?" And Wilson gets up, and he's like, "Oh, thank you, sir. I'm so sorry." And the woman goes, "Look, there you go. Good karma comes to good people." And she turns around and goes, "One duck soup, please." As we see Wilson disappear into the crowd. We cut to the other side of the crowd as the blind man comes out of tapping, and he looks up and he reaches into his pocket, and what he takes out is the wallet of the fat man, and he looks up and he goes, "Heh, good karma indeed." And he heads off back into the crowd. As we pan to the right, we see a shadowy figure, and Wilson's like, "Man, what a steal!" And as he says steal, he looks at his next target, which is a old lady's handbag, and we zoom into the handbag, and we see that it's there for the taking. And Wilson's like, "Ha! Looks like some more good karma," as he cracks his neck and gets back into character. And he taps his way towards her, and he's just about to reach the handbag when another hand grabs him and pulls him back into a headlock. And we tilt up, and we see Tuan. "Not getting away this time, blind man." And the crowd moves back. But sir, I'm just a poor blind man." "Ha! Good one. What's he stolen now, ma'am?" And the old lady's like, "Well, everything seems to be here. Maybe you should let him go," as the crowd comes closer. "Yeah, let him go, Anjing La!" they yell at him. Tuan goes, "But he's not blind. I saw..." And then, as he just says that, Wilson trips over the cane and falls into someone's arm. He's like, "Oh, thank you." And the old lady's like, "Now, don't be mean. Just because you have a uniform on, doesn't mean you can bully people around." And Tuan looks around at the crowd, and he sees that everyone's against him. He takes a deep breath, and he breathes out and turns away. He's lost this battle. But as he walks away, the old lady's like, "Oh, my wallet. He stole my wallet." And Tuan looks over to the right, and we whip pan across, and we see Wilson drop his cane and fart and run off into the crowd. And Tuan goes, "Blind man, my ass." And he runs off. "Stop! "Stop that blind man!" As he runs after him, we see Wilson in the foreground smack someone out of the way. Ow! And then we follow him, and he runs off. He's oof, ow, pushing his way through the crowd. We go back to 2-1, who's closely behind him. Stop! And he runs off after him. We cut out wide to see 2-1 bustling through the crowd. And he grabs a man, and he chucks him down, and all these oranges fly out everywhere, and gets in the way of 2-1, who somehow manages to stumble over him and get his step and run towards him again with more determination. Wilson sees behind this, and he's like, oh shit, he doesn't know where to go, and he sees over to the right, so he ducks down to the right through a laneway, and then 2-1's like, move! And then we follow behind 2-1, and we're tracking with 2-1 as we see Wilson in the foreground, and they're going through some sort of underpass, and the blind man's like, crap! He turns around, he looks forward, and then we see these old men getting these chickens out, ducks out, quack, 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 quack. And then one of the men look up, and then the blind man pulls one of the man's arms, making him drop the chicken, and he pushes him into the cage. And all the ducks fly everywhere, and we can see this big cloud of ducks as we zoom in. And then we thought, oh no, this is where 2-1's gone. But no, 2-1 bursts out of the chickens, making the chickens fly out everywhere. And now he's even more determined. And then the blind man goes, crap, crap! And then he grabs a pole and swings around to the corner, and we see him disappear off to the left. And then 2-1 grabs the same pole and swings it around, and we see the blind man's POV, and as he's pushing the people out of the crowd, and it's a blockade. What's he going to do? And he doesn't hesitate at all. He keeps on running. He jumps up onto the first step, goes on the box, cracks the box, and we cut out wide as we see him do this massive jump over the garbage heap and land and go off. And then we go back to 2-1, and 2-1's like, but he's like, no, I'm going to make this. And as he runs towards, he jumps on the first ledge, and then he cracks through the already broken box, and he loses his footing, and he falls into the cabbage. Oops, he falls into the cabbage there. And the cabbage splashes over all the people, and everyone gets all splattered. And then we cut out wide to see 2-1's legs wriggling around in the garbage heap. We cut back to the blind man as we hear in the distance, hey, give me your hand. And then the blind man looks down at an apple, and he grabs the apple, and he steals the apple, and he eats the apple. He's like, heh heh heh, and he goes off. And then we cut back to 2-1, who's being helped out by the crowd. And one of the guys pushing the garbage bag is like, hey, what are you doing? And then 2-1 gets off, and he's covered in all this garbage and gunk and slime and grot. And he looks up at the crowd, and all the people in the crowd are like dripping with garbage, and everyone's kind of just looking at him. And the woman in the front goes, nice. And then 2-1's like speechless, and he's just, you can see all the gunk all over him. And he looks back into the garbage, and he reaches back in and pulls out his cap, and he shakes it off, and it's got some tripe on it, and he puts his cap on, and he hangs his head down low as he walks off from the crowd, and the crowd kind of parts like a Moses with water, and the kid yells, Barbie, which means a pig. That's the end. Cool, huh?